Now, this is where many people get nervous. C major, or F major, or G7, something like that, Then do I need to memorize them all? All kinds? Not at all. Think about it in this way. It suddenly doesn't feel like separate notes anymore. It's not like C, E, G. It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like one color. Hello everyone, it's Sunny. Intervals has its own individual characters. A major third felt like happy sound, so like a bright morning or Sunday morning, like we said. A minor third was like sad sounds, something like walking along in the rain. And perfect fifth was like a strong and stable sound. With just two notes, they created completely different emotions. Then what will happen if you combine one more note? Let me show you. When we add one more note, then something interesting happens. A single dot, another dot, and together it creates a line. So it's a line, and then one more note. It suddenly doesn't feel like separate notes anymore. It's not like C, E, G. It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like one color. Isn't that strange? Because we're hearing still three notes, but then we hear, instead of C, E, G, we hear one color, one sound, and one mood. This is what we call a chord. Now, this is where many people get nervous. C major, or F major, or G7, something like that, Then do I need to memorize them all? All kinds? Not at all. Think about it in this way. Why do we call a dog as a dog? Not because we are trying to memorize it, because when we see it again, we know exactly what we're talking about. So, to call a dog as a dog, we name dog as dog. Are you following? So imagine if the colors, the sound didn't have names, okay? Then how are we gonna call major as a major chord? Like, can you play the chord that sounds happy, bright, cool? Like, it's very hard to call that chord, right? Call that chord. So that's why we just name it to call that colors easily. So same as like we call the colors, like a blue paint. Can you pass me blue paint? Then how are you gonna call it? Like that cool color, that paint, like that. Like, how are you describing? And also, everybody can feel a little bit different, and then you're gonna describe it in a different way. So we just call it as blue. So can you pass me blue paint, right? So blue paint. So can you play C chord, like C major chord, something like that. So this is like nickname. So we just put the names on the chords. Simply a nickname that to call the chords or the sounds that you already recognize. So we call it as chord, and then we also put other names because we should be able to recognize the different colors still in the chords. So how do we make that color? Actually, you already know. We learned in the last video. Let's start with a major third, right? C, E, and it's bright and open like sunlight, right? And then we put one more note next to it, perfect fifth on the top. So C, E, G. Now it feels complete. Not just two people talks. It's like an entire landscape appears, right? So this sound has a name. We call it a major chord. Major chord. Not because somebody wanted to invent difficult music theory, just this amazing sound needed a name. So we just called it as major chords. Let's try something else. In here, if we move only one note, so C, E, G, but then one note change to E flat. So C, E flat, G. Okay, so we keep the C and we keep the G. Okay, but then the sounds change differently, right? And so it sounds completely different. Suddenly the whole movie changed, and then like the bright morning disappeared. The bright morning disappeared, and this sad sound comes, right? The color became darker, and then we call it as minor chord. It sounds minor, right? Name is important, but before you need to fill it first. So the filling comes first, and then the name comes later. Let's try it one more time. C, E, G. This sounds bright and happy, hopeful, like that. And then if we change only one note to here to have minor third, right? Then it becomes minor chord, and then it sounds very sad, and it becomes completely different story, right? This is why we study chords, not to calculate the chords, not to memorize formulas, because our fingers become the director of the movie. Do you want brighter color? Then choose this one. Do you want darker color? Then we choose this one. Something like this. Do you want something mysterious? Do you want something very, very serious? But very emotional, and then much tension in there. You see? So, one finger or two fingers, if you change the notes, then it changes the colors differently. So you're painting the sound with the colors. You get it? So today, you didn't learn how to memorize major chord. You learned how to make brightness. And you didn't memorize minor chord. And you just learned how to make emotional chord. That's a very different way of thinking. Because music is not memorizing the different informations. Music is making different colors. And then that becomes different stories. So it's about recognizing character. The names simply help us to find the colors again. The name is simply help us to find the colors and the sound again whenever we want. So today we learned when there are three notes, then it becomes a color. One note, two notes become a line, and then when there are three notes, then it becomes color. Then we call it as chord, and then the chord has different names because it has different sounds. But we're not memorizing the names, we're memorizing the colors first. But here is another question. Movies are not made of by one scene, right? They actually move. One scene leads to another, and music works exactly the same. Single chord is beautiful, but that chord wants to move to somewhere else. Then it's leading the story, and then it starts storytelling. So this story, this scene to this scene, and then this story becomes this story. And that's where harmony truly comes alive. In the next video, we will explore the different chords and then how chords connect, why certain chord progression make us to feel excitement or peace or even tears of make us really sad and then emotional like that. I'll see you there. If you liked this video, please like it, and then please don't forget to subscribe me. Thank you. See you in the next video. Bye.